Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and in this video, I'm going to be explaining why now, in 2022, it is nearly impossible to save a deposit to buy a house. I've recently been reading so many articles and in so many books where authors and influencers are telling people to cancel Netflix and stop drinking Starbucks every day and instead save that and then buy an investment property. And whilst that sounds like good advice, I think it's actually terrible advice, especially if you're buying an investment property, because how many cups of coffee are you going to have to save? You need 25% deposit. And the average house right now in the UK is worth £276,000. So if you're going to need 25% of £276,000, that's a lot. That's like over £50,000. Plus, you have to pay stamp duty. That's going to be probably around about another £10,000, plus your legals, your mortgage fees. So realistically, just to buy an average house in the UK right now, you're going to need around £60,000, £70,000. Catch this, the average salary in the UK is around about £25,000 a year. Well, that's about £2,000 a month. And that doesn't take into account your tax that you have to pay. So if your take home is, let's say, £1,500, £1,600 a month, well, the average rent right now in the UK is £1,000 a month. So if you're getting paid £1,500, £2,000 a month, your rent has taken the majority of your wage. Then you've got to pay your gas, electric, council tax, broadband, and you've got to eat. So how is it possible to save enough money to actually buy a property and put down a deposit? And the answer is, it isn't. It's getting harder and harder and harder, and the reason is because everything's going up and up and up. House prices are going up. On average, every 10 years, they're doubling in value. And people always go, oh, they're not going to do that in the next 10. And what happens? They do. So house prices are going up and up and up. Rents are going up and up and up. Energy prices are about to go up by 40%. Petrol's going up. Everything's increasing. The only thing that's not increasing and hasn't done particularly for years and years is wages. So if you're in the mindset of, I'm going to save up a deposit from my wages and buy an investment property, then you're going to really, really struggle. And I know this video might seem a bit negative, but I'm just going to hit you with the truth. And I'm going to tell you how it is right now in 2022, and then I'm going to talk to you about the solution. By the way, if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy my channel, please do me a massive favor and hit like. Let's say you're making £2,000, £3,000 a month. You're making decent-ish okay money, and you live quite frugally, and you're not spending on Netflix, and you're not spending on Starbucks. Realistically, if you're saving, the average person saving £500 a month, that's pretty good. £500 a month, pretty impressive. If you need to save up £50,000, £60,000 to buy a property, how long is that going to take? Just do the maths, okay? That's going to take about 10 years to buy a below average property investment. 10 years. And here's the thing, right? If you save up £500 a month for 10 years and you've got, say, 50, 60 grand, by the time you've got that money, house prices have probably going to have doubled. So you're going to be like, oh, I've spent 10 years saving all this money, and I'm now only halfway there. Another 10 years. It's just absolutely ludicrous to think that saving money every month and being frugal is going to help you be able to become a property investor and become wealthy. Let's say, okay, hypothetically, that you're paid really well. Let's say you're making 5, 10 grand a month and you're in a really good job. You're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week and you're able to save half of your salary. And let's say you're able to get 60 grand within just a few years. Okay, great. What's going to happen then? You'll buy a house. Let's say you buy a house for £200,000 and you put down £50,000 deposit plus stamp duty, tax, legals, another £10,000. So 60 grand is down. You now own a house. Let's say you rent that house out and you rent it out for £1,000 a month. Well, you're going to have to pay your mortgage interest payments. That's probably going to come to around about £400 or £500. So half of your rent is gone. Then you're going to have to pay management. You're going to have to pay maintenance. So how much profit are you going to be left from that investment property? Probably £200 or £300 a month. So You've managed to finally buy a property investment. Whoopee-doo. All the hard work and the labor and the blood and the sweat and the tears, and you own a property investment, and you were making £5,000 a month, but now you're making £5,250. How many times are you going to need to do that before you become financially free? How many decades is it going to take to become financially free by saving and investing? And the answer is, it's going to take more than a lifetime. So that's why I believe that saving up to invest in property and saving up to buy houses is actually a really bad way to try and become financially free. So what is the solution? Well, the solution is twofold. Number one, instead of trying to save money, you need to think about how you can make more money. Instead of thinking, how can I save my £2,000 by cancelling Netflix and being frugal, you need to be thinking, instead of making £2,000 a month, how can I make £20,000 a month? And how can I do that now this year? And there's many ways you can do that through business, through property. A way that I did when I started out was I learned how to package and sell deals. This is called deal sourcing. The average deal sourcer, and I've trained thousands of people to do this, the average deal sourcer makes between £2,000 and £5,000 per deal. Now, you're not having to buy anything. You're not investing in anything. You're just finding a deal, sourcing a deal, and passing it on to an investor, making £2,000 to £5,000 a month. I mean, if you can do a deal like that once a week, suddenly you're in a situation whereby you can save deposits, because instead of focusing on saving your £2,000 salary, you're thinking, how can I make more money? The other way is, rather than thinking about, I have to own properties, I have to buy properties, how's about thinking, all the businesses in the world that are the most successful, rather than owning things, they focus on controlling things. Uber don't own their cars. Amazon doesn't own most of its stock. Airbnb don't own their hotels, but they act as a middleman. They're running a business where they're getting paid to have control. And something that you can do, which is called rent to rent, and many people think rent to rent is illegal or is it subletting? It's completely not. In fact, this is the business model that Premier Inn do. Premier Inn don't own their hotels. Premier Inn rent the building off of the owner, and then they run it as a business and make money by running it as a hotel and renting it out for a higher amount. Guess what? You can do the exact same thing too, but instead of renting a massive hotel building, you can rent a small studio apartment off of a landlord with the correct contracts, with the correct permissions in place, and then you can rent that apartment, that studio apartment, on Booking.com, on Airbnb. Pay the landlord. I mean, there was a couple called Anna and Renato, and I met Anna and Renato a few months ago, and they were working really hard in their jobs, and they didn't have enough money to start buying properties. They understood that saving money to invest in property was not smart, so they learned about rent to rent. And they rented a small apartment in Aylesbury for £750 a month with the agreement from the landlord that they wouldn't live there. They'd put the property on Airbnb and Booking.com and have short stay guests. They're paying the landlord $750, they're renting it out for £2,000 a month. After all their costs, they're left with £750 a month clean profit. So they're making $750 a month clean profit from one apartment that they don't own that cost them about £1,500 to get set up. Would you rather be the guy who saves 15 years and buys a house and makes £250 a month, or the guy or girl that rents a property on a rent-to-rent basis and makes £750 profit, puts down £1,500 to secure the deal and gets the keys immediately and starts making the cash flow now? I know which person I'd rather be. I'd rather be person B. So instead of thinking about being frugal and saving money, think about making more money by having a business, maybe deal sourcing. Instead of thinking about owning properties, maybe think about controlling properties. And then when you become financially free and are able to leave your job and are making good cash flow, then go get rich. Then go build an empire. Then go and create generational wealth for your family. So I hope this video has helped and made you think a little bit differently around property. If you want to even see the apartment that Anna and Renato are using as their serviced apartment and making £750 a month, right here, check it out, go see it. If you want to join me at one of my property investors crash course events where I can train you in these strategies, then click right here. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to help you. I'd love to help you become financially free this year through being a property entrepreneur. Thanks for watching. See you next time.